While the Mandalorian Din Djarin takes a little break, we are treated in the meantime to the story of another character wearing Mandalorian armor. Our favorite ex-bounty hunter Boba Fett. What is he up to? Will his story be as thrilling as promised by Disney's executives? Hi there, it's Micha. Join me and we will check it out together. After a triumphant return to the franchise late last year and a teaser for his own series at the end of The Mandalorian's second season, we can finally witness what Boba Fett is up to, now that he has taken over as crime lord on Tatooine. For this series I am once again teaming up with my friend Neal. He will provide me with Easter eggs and again created the awesome original music you are hearing right now. Inspired by the Star Wars franchise. Thanks Neal. In this video we will check into the first episode and share our theories on how we think the show will play out. Like with Hawkeye, the next video will follow after the show's finale. There we will take a quick look at each episode, rate the show as a whole and share more Easter eggs. We will also check back how well our predictions turned out to be, which can be glorious if we were spot on, but more often turns out being an embarrassment for us, which hopefully makes for good entertainment for you. But enough about that, let's start with the synopsis of Chapter 1 titled Stranger in a Strange Land. The first episode starts with Boba already residing in Jabba's old palace, meaning the events of a teaser where he killed off Bib Fortuna to take the throne already happened. While sleeping in a healing tank, submerged in fluid, Boba dreams of his past, with us witnessing how he escaped the infamous Sarlacc pit, being robbed of his armor by the Yavas and captured by the Tusken Raiders, where he is put on a working detail until his bravery saved one of the Sand People's younglings and earns him a better standing. While being awake in the here and now, Fett and his right hand Fennec Shand are being visited by representatives of other crime organizations as well as local business owners and politicians to pay their tribute to the new ruler of the underworld. While some people, like the closest town's mayor, believe it should be Boba who has to pay tribute to them,
I bear the mayor's heartfelt welcome.
Keep an eye on that one.
I keep an eye on everyone.
others are presenting more or less honest offerings. Among them are the two captured Gamorrean guards, who first loyally served Jabba and then Bib Fortuna, and never gave up fighting. While the group presenting them as tributes expected them to be executed, something Shand also suggested to show strength, Boba asked them for their loyalty to serve him as guards if he spared their lives, which they happily embraced, continuing the job they were doing for the previous rulers. Boba then started to make his first round through the neighboring communities, on foot, which seems to be unheard of for a ruler in his position, who are usually carried around to display their dominance. Again, Fennec advised him not to break with traditions previous rulers have established, but Fett tells her that he plans to do many things differently.
Jabba ruled with fear. I intend to rule with respect.
Most prominently to not rule with fear, but with respect. His first visit brings him to a cantina in Mos Espa, run by Gaza Thwip, played by Jennifer Beals, who seems to happily pay the tribute to him now. Outside on the streets, they are attacked by assassins, which they manage to fight off and even capture one for later questioning. Boba is wounded in the attack and put back into his healing tank, where he continues to dream of his past. The first episode kicks off with a lot of fan service, as literally every Star Wars fan wanted to see how Boba escaped the Sarlacc pit. And we got to see it as the very first thing in this show. Then the gaps of what happened since then are slowly filled in as well. For me personally, the most important line of dialogue in the whole episode was Boba saying he wants to rule with respect, as I was worried since seeing the teaser at the end of The Mandalorian that he might do a 180 and becomes a ruthless criminal now, which wouldn't really fit in with what we saw of him lately. Sure, he started out as a bounty hunter working for Darth Vader, but during that time period that was something the Hunters Guild was doing. They stayed out of politics, so we should consider him to be a contractor when it comes to this part of his backstory, not a villain. In his interactions with Din Djarin he also displayed nothing but honor, and we see that he also follows certain codes he wants to abide by. This feeds into my first and one of the few predictions I would like to make here. I'm sure he will do whatever he can to stick to this approach of not acting ruthless, taking on the frowned upon position as underground leader and make it something better. Some kind of an honest protecting force for the community, instead of just taking protection money. Neal thinks that he might only try this for a while. We'll likely see that this doesn't work and then has to readjust. Will be interesting to see who will turn out to be right about this. I do think though the story jumped over Bib Fortuna's death too quickly, especially as he was outright executed. Sure, he supposedly was a cruel ruler, so killing him might be justified, but it feels a bit off regarding Boba's planned approach of ruling. It also surprised me that it happened in the teaser for the show, and the character apparently is a fan favorite, so I expected to see a bit more from him. Overall, I enjoyed the first episode for the mentioned fan service, for working nicely balanced between filling in the backstory and furthering the current plot, both paired with a lot of character development. The first episode on its own I am rating with 8 out of 10 points, for promising a lot and hopefully delivering on it. Let's look into predictions. As mentioned before, I have no clear vision of what the rest of the show will bring and only few things to speculate about. I guess we will continue to see more backstory while Boba is sleeping. Likely in the same two timelines approach, though I think this will only go on for the next few episodes, until we are caught up with the past, not in every episode of a series. Pretty safe bet. Likely Gaza Fwip, Jennifer Beals' character, will turn out to be his main opponent, not being as obedient as she first appears. Likely she will turn out to be behind the assassin attempt as well. I'm sure his decision to use the Gamorreans he pardoned as his guards will pay out big, with them staying true to him, saving his life more than once. I also think, since we are in Jabba's old palace, that one of those Rancor beasts in the dungeons below will make an appearance, to which Neal also has a nice theory. More on that later. Since we are on Tatooine, I guess the interim holder of Boba's armor, Cobb Vanth, will have a role in this story as well. Likely first opposing Boba, thinking he's just another villain, while later joining forces. Likely there will also be a small conflict with Fennec along the way, if Boba keeps ignoring her advice.
In difficult times, fear is a sure bet.
But his positive results will then likely make her see his way as the right one. I also think that since we quickly skipped over Bib Fortuna's death, that there will be a flashback around him and his way to rule. Also, the Sand People will likely not only have a role in Boba's sleep sequences, as he there apparently made first strides in earning their respect, there is this word again, and he likely spent his past years with them. I guess he by now has a very high standing in their community, so it would only make sense for them to also appear in the current story timeline. Maybe, as respect seems to be highly valued in the Tusken society, big parts of his respect-based codec now derives from them. We will see. I for sure look forward to learn more about these Tatooine natives, who usually are presented as villains, while being the rightful inhabitants and were very likely misrepresented all the time. That's it regarding my take. Let's check in with what Neal shared with me. He also gave this pilot episode 8 out of 10 points and especially liked how it sets the tone for the whole show. He expects the series to get even better with each episode, predicting the overall show to get 9 points. But let's try not to get ahead of ourselves. By the way, do we know already if this is a mini-series or a first season? I guess it depends on the success, but at least I didn't see any source explicitly calling it a mini-series or limited series, which gives us some kind of an idea. Let's consider this season 1 then. Neal's predictions. There is a Rancor beast named Micha, which was last seen in the Bad Batch animated series, with Bib Fortuna owning it. So this beast will likely show up in the caves below at some point. Neal also expects that Din Djarin will appear at the end of the season and will ask for Boba's help to liberate Mandalore. I agree, at the end of the season this makes sense. I wouldn't expect him earlier though. He also thinks it would be fitting to have a Han Solo appearance, as he and Boba have a lot of history in the movies and expanded universe, and would prefer to see Eldon Ehrenreich rather than a de-aged Harrison Ford. Same goes for a Kira appearance, Han's girlfriend from Solo, a Star Wars story. She may be the main villain in this series. In this part of the timeline, she is currently running the crime syndicate known as Crimson Dawn. Personally, though I love the idea, I think that the time period we are in, about 10 years after Return of the Jedi, is not a good fit for an appearance of Han. Likely this will happen in the Lando series or in the Obi-Wan series, which plays around the same time as the Solo movie took place. We will see. As for Qi'ra, that sounds interesting, but would they then have to take a new actress or age up Emilia Clarke for it? Like myself, Neal also expects Cobb Vanth, the Marshal of Los Pelgo, to make an appearance. He also got a theory around how Boba and Fennec first met. In season 1 of The Mandalorian, Din Djarin had spoken to a group of Tusken raiders and asked for safe passage across their land in exchange for a pair of binoculars. He thinks Boba was informed by them due to their connection that a Mandalorian was traveling to a nearby location, and this is how he found Fennec. Nice one. Would make Boba finding her less random. Another appearance predicted by Neal, Cad Bane. He was a male Duros bounty hunter during the Clone Wars. He was considered the best and one of the most experienced bounty hunters in the galaxy, due to the death of Jango Fett in the first Battle of Geonosis in 22 BBY. He and Boba were major rivals. There's even an unreleased Clone Wars episode where they face off, but the episode was never completed or released. Okay, let's close it with some quickfire Easter eggs provided by our Star Wars superfan Neal. The captive that Boba tries to help escape from the Tusken camp is a Rodian, like Greedo, who was shot by Han Solo in the cantina in the original Star Wars A New Hope. The healing chamber being used by Boba is called a Bacta pod, similar to what Luke used in The Empire Strikes Back after being attacked by the Wampa, the snow beast. A Bacta tank was also used to heal Darth Vader. The Tatooine settlement of Mos Espa is a previously established location. In fact, it is Anakin Skywalker's hometown, the site of much of the Tatooine portion of The Phantom Menace, including the pod race. The characters at the CD Mos Espa establishment, playing a remix of a famous cantina music, is the Max Rebo band from Return of the Jedi. Garza Fwip, the manager of a cantina Boba visits, is a Twi'lek. By the way, Bib Fortuna was also a Twi'lek. Hey, maybe my theory then is true that Garza will be the main antagonist to Boba, as he killed Bib Fortuna, who could have been a relative, friend or even lover of hers, making her seek revenge. We will see. The Aquilish who pays tribute to Boba Fett is named Garfalaquox. He is played by Daniel Lowin, one of Din Djarin's doubles in The Mandalorian. Doc Strasi is the leader of a Trandoshan gang on Tatooine and one of Boba's former bounty hunting clients. Doc is played by none other than Robert Rodriguez, who also directed the episode. 88, the droid that is assisting Boba and Fennec, is Jabba's torture droid from Return of the Jedi. They must have reprogrammed him. By the way, he is voiced by Matt Berry, who stars in the TV show What We Do in the Shadows. The producers must really love that show, as they previously cast Taika Waititi, the star of the theatrical version, as the voice of IG-11 in The Mandalorian. Well, how did you like the first episode? What are your theories? Let us know in the comments. We will be back with a review of the whole show once the last episode streamed. That's it. As always, if you enjoyed this video, like it and feel free to share it with your friends. And why not subscribe to my channel so you won't miss any future video. Make sure to also hit the notification bell to get a heads up whenever a new video is posted. So much for now, see you next time and thanks for watching.